So today I would like to talk about impact and bees. And talking about impact and bees is probably one of the most entrepreneurial things that I've done in a while. But the impact I want to talk about is the social one, the environmental one, but also the one that transforms lives, and also the one that brings economic impact and financial impact. The one that actually you can find on spreadsheets and make CEOs and CFOs smile. So, solving the most pressing societal challenges of today is not only the right thing to do, it's also an economic opportunity. It's a smart business, but creating an impact, it's not only about metrics or spreadsheets or even mission statements. It's way more than this. It's about people. People that, like bees, are able to pollinate around them, quietly but constantly, ensuring that hope, life, and progress keeps on moving forward. And these people and their stories remind me every single day why I do what I do in the first place. Let me start with Samira's story. So as you can see, it was taken with my previous iPhone. But I met Samira back in 2017 when I was delivering a social entrepreneurship program in Tunisia. And she was attending it. She told me then that she settled in Aleppo, Syria, as a Palestinian refugee with her family. The situation was chaotic since she never got the Syrian citizenship, and she became a lifelong prisoner in a golden cage. But let me remind you that in 2012, the Syrian civil war broke, and Aleppo turned into a war zone. And according to the UN, more than 100,000 people were killed during the battle for Aleppo alone. The humanitarian situation was catastrophic. So without electricity, facing food shortages, lacking resources, Samira and her family were forced to rely on their entrepreneurial skills. She told me that she saw her brother losing an arm while looking for food, and she was not even able to go back home. So eventually she found a shelter for herself and her family, and together, as a family, they built from scratch a human power generator fueled by human poop to supply the whole community. So this story left a deep impression on me, because it's a striking example of the human ability to devise creative solutions in the face of extreme adversity. But the stories of hope like Samira's are not limited to such extreme contexts. Let me tell you the story of Anna from Denmark. In 1999, Torkil Sona was having like his best life. Well, he was an engineer. But anyway, he was earning good money, having a stable life, when his youngest son was diagnosed with the Asperger's syndrome, so within the autism spectrum. So one day he was playing with his kid, and he realized that his son had drawn a perfect and detailed world map from memory. Intrigued, he started researching about the condition, about the issues his son was facing, and he found a profound paradox. People like his son often face social and labor market exclusion, despite their unique skill set, for example, IT, data analysis, or quality control. So in 2004, he set up a company called Specialist Turn. So a company designed to train and employ individuals on the autism spectrum. His dream, very, very simple, to help integrate over 1 million neurodivergent people, individuals, into the global workforce. And today, Specialist Turn, as a company, operates in over 20 countries, and the impact is real. If you don't believe me, go check online. If you do, I'm going to finish the story of Torkelson's son. So, once devoted to isolation, he built his own support network. He found a job based on merit. He rented an apartment, and today he lives independently. But what happened also was a side effect. So companies like IBM, S&P, or Microsoft became Specialist Turn's main clients. And by embracing the diversity agenda, they not only reported more inclusive workplaces, but also improved productivity, better organizational culture, and enhanced work environment. So this is impact. But by pure determination and most times by personal connection, these people, they create sustainable, impactful solutions, often entrepreneurial, to drive positive change. So Samira and Torkelson, they share 3 essential traits. So the first one is they are rooted in human nature, especially altruism. They care about others, both those close to them, but also those far. They are driven by the spirit of empathy and determination. And lastly, they identify sin problems. What are sin problems? Problems with negative spillover effects that are important to the community and to the society as a whole and are neglected by both governments and markets. These problems affect many people but remain overlooked. And this is an issue that we need to tackle together as a community, as the society. So, but what in fact and why I think that these efforts are not only a moral imperative, but they're also an economic opportunity. Let me share with you, no, before that, let me tell you something, which is every single company, every single organization relies on 3 sources of value. So talent, business, and access to capital, right? Let me share you some numbers. So today, 75% of millennials, which is not my generation because I'm older, want more impact, more purpose, wanting their work to contribute to positive change. This number goes up for Gen Y to 85%. And by 2030, 58% of all European assets under management are expected to be scrutinized by ESG criteria. So environmental, social, and governance, decreasing the cost of capital for companies complying with those criteria, making them more competitive. The last one, in 2018, 85% of impact-oriented organizations reported growth, compared to 48% of traditional ones. Do you know what this means? Impact is an economic opportunity. So the shift is redefining business. Hybrid business models that combine market logic with social value creation is becoming the norm. And you know what? They operate in networks, leveraging both philanthropic and commercial resources to drive systemic change. But in order to get systemic change, we need resilient systems. And resilient systems are like a starfish, as Ori Brafman puts it. Not a spider, For example, a spider dies if you cut off its head, right? But a starfish, it regenerates its limbs and even its central body. So resilient systems are about regeneration. It's about the community. It's about thriving and growing in a decentralized way where values are shared. And this is super important because these models are also redefining the way we look into resources. And one way they are doing it is, instead of valuing scarce resources, they're valuing abundant resources. Take the circular economy, for example, where fabric waste turns into vintage fashion, right? Or the example of Apopo, which is a company that trains giant African rats, plentiful, and most of the times an overlooked resource, where they identify tuberculosis and landmines, saving hundreds of thousands of lives all over the world. So these kind of initiatives, in fact, what they're doing is designing the boundaries amongst sectors. So it's no longer us versus them. It's about together, companies, civil society, community, the governments, coming together to solve and address the most pressing challenges that the world is facing today. And the time is now. It's today. And today we need to move forward and we need to have hope. And that's why I have one last story to share with you, which is the story of Prometheus. So after stealing the fire from the gods to give it to mankind, so Prometheus was punished by Zeus, the god of the gods. And to exact further revenge, he created a woman called Pandora. And she sent Pandora to Earth to get married to Prometheus' brother. As a wedding gift, he gave Pandora a box that she was told not to open. But curiosity got the best of her. She opened the box, unleashing all the evils that would destroy the world. Except for one, and that's the most interesting part of the story. The one that would destroy hope. That's why hope is the last to die. And social innovation, social entrepreneurship is all about hope. It's about us taking the leap forward, caring about our community and acting. So the responsibility now doesn't lie with someone else. It lies with all of us. Like Kennedy said once, if not us, who? If not now, when? And so will it be with impact being an economic opportunity. So I think this journey is going to be charted by the unreasonable ones. People like Samira or Torquil Sona, but also Muhammad Yunus. Muhammad Yunus is a Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. By the way, this picture was taken in my hometown, Porto, after an amazing meal with a grilled fish by the ocean, in my favorite restaurant. He dared to lend money to poor people, believing in them and the strengths of the community and their community. He challenged, defied the rules and the status quo of traditional banking. And he helped lift millions of people out of poverty. Today, Grameen Bank is an inspiration for all traditional banks, where it's if you want, the sign of rights for people that are in a very poor situation. So what once seemed naive, now seems obvious, right? So here, my last call. We need more unreasonable ideas. We need quiet rebellions. But above all, we need people that, like Yanas, believe that business is a force for good. Thank you.